Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Parker Pod. Today, I have a special guest. I used to work with her at Crunch. She is a bodybuilder. She's going for wellness and figure here in a few months, I believe. Her name is Madison Stallworth. Madison, how are you doing today?
I am doing so well. It is a beautiful day. How are you?
I'm doing good as well. So, kind of give us a background on you. How'd you get into fitness? What made you want to start? And what made you want to ultimately become a trainer and help impact other people as well?
Right, so I kind of have been active like my whole life. I was in sports. I did swim for a long time. I did dance. And then we moved to Florida from Michigan in 2018. And that was a big like culture shock for me. I was like 14, so that kind of weird age. And that was like right before COVID happened. So I just like shut down and stayed in my room, got into anime, and didn't do anything but eat and just watch anime. And it was just kind of bad. And I didn't really, then I went and got homeschooled around the time that COVID happened. And I never went back to school, never went back to like high school or anything. So then I was homeschooled like through that whole like awkward stage. And then after that, while I was being homeschooled, my parents ran a marathon. It was kind of like random, but they really got into fitness and they started running. And then I kind of saw them do that and I was like, okay, yeah, they're gonna live longer than me. So I started kind of running with my mom, and she really inspired me mainly. And then I started going to the gym, started off at Planet Fitness, and was really inconsistent here and there. And then I got a trainer. And then when I got a trainer, that's when things started getting more consistent, and I started seeing like, oh, I have good genetics. Started putting on muscle. And then with Crunch, I just went to the gym with my mom one day, and the manager at the time just came up to me and he was like, we need trainers. And I was like, okay, well, yeah, sure. So then I got my certification in about 3 weeks and then got the job. And then from there, it was just kind of a learning experience working with people. And like just being a trainer kind of helped me actually really develop my passion. Because when I was hired, I had honestly just got into the gym. Like I just happened to kind of have the genetics to look a certain way quickly. Um, but I didn't really have that extreme passion. But over time, working with people, getting them results, and then seeing my own changes within my body helped me develop that like passion for it. And then yeah, and then I'm still at Crunch. It's good. I love all my clients, and then like just being able to build like those relationships with people in the gym and being able to be a person for them that like is just a highlight in their life has been like I just love it so much in terms of just working with people.
Awesome. So, what has been, you said that you love, talking to people and also like helping them achieve their goals. Is that like the main thing that drives you to be a trainer?
Yes and no. Yes, because I do just kind of love building relationships. Like I've always been, for the most part, a pretty like social person. Like I love talking to people. I love getting to know people and their experiences. And then when you do have those clients that are consistent and they do listen to you and they do get results, it does feel good. But then I also just love being a trainer because there's nothing else I would rather do right now while I'm in school too, like in terms of flexibility. And then I just get to spend most of my time in the gym, which like I wouldn't really want to be anywhere else because it's just been an environment that has really made me who I am now. And it just without it, like I don't know who I would be, and I really don't know like where I would be right now. Um
Yeah. So, like, being in the gym, like you said, it's like a big part of your life, right? But we've talked on, not but, we've talked on multiple occasions about how, like, you really, really, you appreciate your feminine side, like your femininity, but you
yeah.
also are jacked, I will say. So you're jacked. And you said that, like, that's why you have a pink chair. You have, a pink cup, pink everything because you really want to lean it, pink phone case because that's very important to you. Can you like kind of elaborate on why it's important for you to showcase your femininity being in
Yeah.
like the fitness space?
Right. It's kind of interesting because like growing up, I always had kind of broader shoulders, And it was something that like I was very, very insecure about, and in some ways I still am, which is why I try to present myself as this hyper feminine, pink, 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 girly thing so people perceive me that way. But growing up, like I used to call it linebacker, like all these things, and it was just like really detrimental because I have always been a girly girl. And then like hearing stuff like that, it just kind of made me want to make myself smaller. And then once I did get into the fitness community, like the shoulders, it's accepted, it's celebrated, it's something like, oh, you're a genetic freak, like this is great. So the gym really helped me like start accepting myself and seeing those things like lats and shoulders and things that are normally interpreted as masculine as a good thing. But even still, like I do struggle with like being like just my femininity and being jacked, because one side of me is like, oh, in the gym community, like having these shoulders is great, like I want to keep grinding, just keep getting bigger because I have the genetics to do it, so why wouldn't I? But then the other side of me is like, I want to be princess, I want to be girly girl. So it's just kind of a back and forth. But it has been really empowering to start to be in a space where those things are looked at as a good thing, and then at the same time still being my hyper feminine self, presenting myself as feminine. Because a lot of times I feel like in the community, especially when you get towards like the bodybuilding women who are deep into it, they lose that feminine part of themselves, and they just lose it, and they're like, forget about it, I'm too far in, the physique is what it is, and that's just kind of what it is. I don't want to lose that part of myself, and it's just something that's been so important to me. So I always try to like just hyper keep it going.
Yeah. So how do you plan on balancing that, right? Like you wear pink a lot, you have a lot of pink stuff, but is there
Yeah.
anything that you do in your daily life that you utilize to balance
Yeah,
that?
so
Yeah.
I try to like see myself as a high value woman. I know it's like a red flag word, like when people start getting into these conversations about high value things. But like just I'm very, I won't say I'm traditional, but I do value tradition and feminine qualities like cooking. I try to keep like, though I still like going to the gym, I still can get in the gym and be in a masculine space, some would say. I still like to do all my feminine things, cook, carry myself a certain type of way. Like I never like go out looking any type of way. I'm always making sure I'm put together. I care about how I look, how I present myself. And then just like in the way I talk to people, like you're never really going to catch me losing my cool, or like even if I have all these muscles, I'm never gonna be like that person. Like that's just not that, I'm never gonna present myself that way. And I just try to like embrace all those feminine qualities that my mom has showed me and that I believe make like a woman feminine.
Do you believe that, like, with that being said, do you believe that some people, it helps or hurts their relationship if they don't take that more traditional route? Or do you feel like it's more open to interpretation?
I think it depends on the other person and the relationship thing. Carrying yourself, I think embracing feminine qualities and embracing masculine qualities, even on the other spectrum in a relationship, when those two things come together, I do think it flows well. My parents have been married my whole life, and in our household, like my mom, she still works, she still does all those things, she's a modern day woman, but they do still have their feminine and masculine qualities that they embrace, and they know their place. Both of them, they know their place in the household. And I think having them as role models for me, for my brothers, has made everything a lot more smoothly, and there's no like extra questions going on about like our roles and how we should present ourselves. So I do think it does help when women lean into their more feminine like traits and they don't try to get away from it. Like I think when we start trying to like see those qualities, when we say I see myself as a feminine woman and I want to like go towards these feminine qualities, and instead of being like, no, I want to be girl boss, there's nothing wrong with being girl boss, but you can still have all these other things. And I think it definitely helps in a relationship. I've seen it like in the few relationships that I've decided to pursue that it helps. Just because then a man can really be a man and I like that.
Yeah, and it sets like a standard of expectation, right? Not necessarily that girls have to do A, B, and C and guys have to do X, Y, and Z, right? But
Yeah,
like having that as a blueprint to what you contribute to the relationship, I think is very important. And if there's something that like you got, he cooks at home because she makes $250,000, so he doesn't go to work, and that expectation is set. I think that having those expectations are very important, because if not, then roles get lost and people don't really know who's doing what.
right.
And then before you know it, like no one emptied the dishwasher, no one did laundry, because they're both just
Yeah,
trying to do different things all the time, and there's
right,
no set expectation for either parties.
right.
And I definitely think that like men doing things that men traditionally do and women doing things that women traditionally did or do, that it's just easier that way because that expectation's already set and both sides are kind of built for whatever they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah,
However, with that being said, like doesn't necessarily mean that that always has to be the case.
yeah,
And when you were
no.
saying like if you want to be a girl boss, be a girl boss, but you're advocating for like but be a girl boss, right?
Be a
Like
girl boss, yeah. And I feel like, sorry, I feel like most women, or I, from at least what I've seen, we still like expect men to be men. Like that's never not been a thing. Like we still expect men to be men, but then there's this kind of like thing where it's like, okay, he needs to provide for me, he needs to do all these things for me, and I can just kind of do whatever. Like it's just kind of, and I don't subscribe to that, because if as women we're going to expect men to be the provider, okay, we need to do the things that women are supposed to do. Now if you don't subscribe to that, okay, do whatever you want. But if you do expect a man to be a man, and a man to be a provider, him to be assertive, him to be all these things that men traditionally are, then you need to you need to embrace those traditional feminine qualities as well. And so I just think it goes both ways. And I feel like a lot of times we just kind of, men be men, and then women, y'all do whatever y'all want to do. And so I just,
yeah,
it gets a little twisted sometimes.
there has to be a give and take in a relationship, right? Like a
Yeah,
true relationship, in order to respect the other side, at least in my opinion, there has to be some sort of back and forth, or I do these three things because you do these three things. And like
right,
some people may argue that that's transactional, but it's not transactional when you both are taking care of each other.
right,
It's not like, hey, I'm going to be with you because you're going to do these things for me, and then I'm not going to do anything, and then you're going to do these things, and then
yeah,
you get blessed with my presence. Like, I don't like that
yeah,
personally, I don't
no,
like that mindset at
it's,
all.
no, I don't either. It's supposed to be like a partnership whenever I think a relationship. And I do have my parents as role models, and I'll keep mentioning them because it is just why I see things the way I do. But they both built companies together. Like it's always been a partnership. And then when they come home, my mom, she's going to do her thing. She's going to cook. She's going to take care of his mental health, and he's going to do his thing. He's going to do all of his provider things, but it's still a partnership, and it's never just like one sided, or she's just kind of existing while he's doing all these things because she's the trophy and she's the wife. Like that's not a thing. It's a partnership. You want to work together. Yeah.
Absolutely. You mentioned that you were homeschooled. Did your mom teach you, or did your dad teach you?
So my mom, mainly when we moved to Florida, that's when they stopped going to the office. So they got more involved with me and my brothers, and then they decided, at first I was online school, and then they decided to just like, for my mom to finish me out for the rest of high school. So my mom did that, and she did great.
Clearly, because I think I remember you saying you started the college when you were 16 or
Yeah,
17.
yeah. I started college when I was 16. Because I was able to graduate early because of the homeschool and just being at an accelerated pace, and I enjoyed it. It wasn't something that like I was forced to do. Like I genuinely enjoyed it, and kind of being in, besides not having the social aspect that I got from being in school, being able to just get my life started. was what
Yeah.
I enjoyed.
Yeah, and I remember you started Crunch when you were like 18, like
Yeah,
on
straight
the
up.
dot.
On
Yeah.
the dot, March 2nd, like ready to go.
Yeah. I think you actually I started on like March 3rd and you had to wait a week for your paperwork to process before you started.
Yeah, no, I just quick.
So like with you being in college now, what are you going to ultimately pursue?
Well, so I'm still figuring that out. At first, I was very, very set on going to law school. That was just kind of what I decided I was going to do. I decided everything I'm really, truly passionate about in terms of like fitness, art, writing, all that stuff can wait when I have a lot of money. Like, so, and I decided going to law school was going to get me to that route to get the money. And I'm still technically on that track. My major is business and political science. So I'm still on that track, but it's kind of wavering now as I'm getting older. And my parents, they were in politics. And so that's why I wanted to go that route. I'm still pursuing it, but it might change and deviate as I just kind of continue. But I'm going to get my degree in business and political science.
Yeah. I mean, it's business, especially in the fitness industry, is definitely not a bad thing to have
Yeah.
because you are practicing in real life, building your own
Yeah.
business with having a client base.
Right.
And eventually down the road, if you want to open a gym, I mean, that
Yeah.
is something that no one can take away from you, especially
Right.
like the political science part. I mean, I know when people think political, they think of like Congress and
Yeah.
senators, but just having the ability to get people together and focused on one goal and being able to relay your ideas and relay what you believe to people, I think is also a huge part of it. So
100%.
I think, that's a good route for you
Yeah.
either way. You also said you'd mentioned that like not everyone needs to go to college, right? Even though you were like graduated high school early, started college early, like you
Right.
also like have a very strong belief that people don't need to go to
Yeah.
college. Can you elaborate on why
Yeah.
you
I
think that's
was
the case?
really I was really the opposite, which is why I jumped straight into it, like off rip. But like in my family, like education is extremely important and I still believe that education is extremely important. But college was always something that was like non-negotiable. And I feel like that's the case in a lot of families, or it's something like you should go to college, you go to college, you're gonna get a great job and you're going to have an amazing life and you're going to be rich. And I just feel like that's something that, most parents kind of will say, even if they don't push it. And as I've been going through college and meeting other people in college, working with people who went to college, I've just determined that that's not the case. I work with people who have these exercise degrees and kinesiology degrees, and there have been points when I was making more money than them just having my 4-week certification, and that's their career path. And there's nothing wrong with the fact that they did go to college, but they didn't necessarily need it. And I think if you're going to law school, if you're going to go be a doctor, if you're going to go to business school, etc., okay, but don't just go to college because you think that's going to automatically guarantee you a job, because it's not, especially not today. And I think a lot of times people use college as a placeholder as well, which is not a reason to go to college, and it's not a reason to go into debt because you have nothing else to do and you're done with high school. No, that's not why you're gonna go to college. Don't go to college either just to go party. I also don't think it's valid to just go to college to get socialized. Those aren't for me. I've determined that that's not the case, and I don't think it should be normalized to go into debt for these reasons. I'm on a scholarship, so that's not gonna, but I was lucky enough to get that. A lot of people aren't, and then they put themselves in this debt, and then they're in school for years and years, and then they don't get a job. And they end up having a degree they don't use. Being in a career path they never thought they would find themselves in. So I just think it's unfortunate that society has this narrative that college equals success, because it doesn't.
Yeah, you ready for this? I went to college. I got my bachelor's degree in management, and then I went for another year and a half, and I got my MBA. And I came out, and I got my certification in 4 or 5 weeks, and became a personal trainer. And I could have done that right out of high school. Well, I'm a little different. There's no
Yeah.
way, because when I got out of high school, I was like 310 pounds. There's no way that anyone would have been like, oh, he knows what he's doing. But, it's something that could have been achieved had I wanted to pursue it directly out of high school, or I mean, probably not in high school because you got to be at least 18, but directly out of high school, I could have pursued that. And now I'm going to be a financial advisor, which also doesn't require a degree at all
Yeah.
whatsoever. I do think that I learned some things about people, and I definitely took skills with me, but I also think those skills you can learn online. You can learn if you truly want it, you can look up anything online and you can learn anything. And I don't think that the curriculum at colleges is even top tier anymore, because you can go to a college and you can learn even, let's say, nutrition from someone, but there's also Andrew Huberman online that talks about nutrition, and you can just listen to every podcast he's ever put out and
Yeah.
get a college level education from what he's talking about. The only difference is probably the practicals and the experiments that you don't get hands-on experience with. But other than that, I mean, the information is all there. You would just have to invest in yourself on the practical portion of it. And that's it. So I definitely agree with you that it's not entirely necessary. And I feel like people who even have trades, people who are more in the creative space, you're actually bringing something to the market. And that's not something that a lot of people think about. What value are you adding to another individual's life that they would pay you money for? That is the real question, right? It's not, can you answer A, B, C, or D on a piece of paper? Like, that's not truly what you're going to be doing with your life. So what do you feel about, like, you said like college isn't necessary, but do you feel like education, like trade education and stuff like that, is important? And if so, what is your opinion on just education in general?
Well, I think education on its own is important. I think literacy and financial literacy is important, but I think it can be separate from what's taught in a classroom, because I've met people who do great. I am actually one of those people who has done great in school. And when it comes to smarts outside of the stuff on the paper and financials, and then the things that I've actually done in life and experiences, they don't always coincide. And then with trades and stuff, were you referring to like trade school or like just
Like trade school, yeah, like
yeah?
actually learning like a skill.
Well, yeah, if you're going to school for a trade, for a specific trade that is going to specifically go to a specific job where there is a need for you, I think that a straight path is always going to be great. But if you're getting an English degree, my brother's going to school for dance, like stuff like that. That's where I'm kind of like, eh. But the doctor, lawyer, any type of skilled trades route, if it's straight, it's straight. And so I'll always be an advocate for straight lines, but just going to school, and just going to school because you think it might open up more doors for you, or just as a placeholder, I don't think it ends up being the route people think it is. And then it just, yeah, no.
Yeah, like there's a lot of things, especially in college, where it's like a perpetual loop. Like you learn English to then teach English, and then those people learn English to then teach English. And the only thing that you're producing is English teachers. Now there are professions, there are people that go on to be editors of
Yeah,
papers, and they're journalists, they're news
yeah,
reporters, and that's awesome. But I think the majority of people in certain fields just teach those in those
yeah,
fields.
yeah. Or they just go on and do something random, like just something else. I think I feel like I met someone at Crunch who had like an ocean, something like an oceanography degree, something like that. I at my first job was I worked at Spirit Halloween. A girl there had a psychology degree, and we're working at Spirit Halloween. So it's just like, so when they go into these stuff like that, it's just, if you go straight through your career path and like you go be a psychologist, okay. You go to trade school, you go use your trade, you go do English and you be an English teacher. Okay. But most people don't end up doing that. And so that's where it's like, okay, so why did you even go? Like, it's just, I just think it could be a trap that people fall into just because, like, society has pushed it. Especially, I feel like a lot of people of color fall into this trap because I've heard it a lot, like, we couldn't go to college. Now we can go to college, go to college. It's not always like that's not always the case. You just don't always need to go, and college is not for everyone. Like, a lot of times when people hear that, they're like, but it's not. Not everyone learns in that way, and they can learn in other ways and do great. And then the things that I've learned in just working at Crunch, I've learned more about sales and business and people working at Crunch than I have in my communications class, my marketing class, my sales class. So much more. So much more. And that's what really made me think about, okay, like, there are actual life skills out here that I'm paying all this money at college that they're not teaching me, that I wouldn't have got until maybe 5 years later in my life. So
Yeah, and I really like what you said when you're talking about the person that worked at Spirit Halloween with you, right? You're like, why did you go to college? And I think that a lot of people go to college without intent, and not even just college. I feel like a lot of people do things and get jobs without intent. I think intent is very important because when you have intent, you have a why, and a why is what drives a lot of people to end up ultimately becoming successful in what they're doing. And I think that, I don't know about you and your fitness journey, but my fitness journey was definitely attached to some whys. Did you have any whys, and if so, what were that?
well, mine weren't too, like, deep. My whys were more so, at first they were attached to my parents. Just seeing my mom, how much more in shape my mom was than I it didn't sit right with me. And then mine were kind of superficial in terms of just wanting to look a certain way, but that also affected how I felt. And then from there, they just kind of, like, grew into just wanting to be like a role model in a lot of ways for my family. A lot of obesity and heart problems run in my family. So being able to, do the things I do now, and then, like, when I go back to Michigan and I do see my family, a lot of them are inspired. I get text messages all the time with them just randomly texting me that they're at the gym, or like, look what I'm eating, or Maddie, can you make me a meal plan? And so that's what it's turned into, though that's not how it started. That's what keeps me, like, going, and, like, I got to keep doing this. And it's been really rewarding.
That's awesome. Um, At what you had mentioned that like you were hanging out with people that had like some destructive habits, right? And that like it gets to a point where you're like, oh, look at this person, they're doing this or they're doing that. And then you get to a point where you're like, wait, now I'm doing that. Like what was that realization? Because at first you had mentioned that you were just like watching anime in your room, but like it was
Yeah.
a whole lifestyle that you had
Yeah.
adopted that you weren't
Yeah.
entirely too proud of. So like
Yeah.
the anime in the room, your mom running a marathon and your dad running a marathon sparked that. But what made you want to change your lifestyle around as a
Yeah.
whole?
Well, so I mean, overall, the lifestyle was not it. I was a couch potato watching anime in my room, but I was also, like, doing drugs and hanging out with bad people that I just kind of got into when I first moved to Florida. And they were my friends, like, but just hanging out with the wrong types of people, doing things I had no business doing. I live in the suburbs. I come from a great family. Why am I out in Tampa somewhere doing stuff I have no business doing? And at first, like, I was like, this is just kind of what it is. Like, I fell into these groups, and I was very susceptible to, like, just not even peer pressure, because I won't even say that. It was just something I was doing that I had no business doing. And over time, like, there was a point where I was, like, just kind of like high, and I was in my room, and I was just like, oh, okay, yeah. And I just kept getting, like, just getting in these moments where I would be off some type of substance and it was not fun anymore. It wasn't hee hee ha ha experimentation. It was like, okay, this like is gonna lead somewhere else. Like, I'm gonna get in trouble, someone else is gonna get in trouble. Okay, we're approaching 18, we could go to jail. Like, this is my life. Who am I? I'm supposed to be, my parents are these high class people. I live in the suburbs. My dad bought me a car. I have all these luxuries afforded to me. What am I doing? And so, like, and that's the whole thing with me trying to be or trying to perpetuate this high value woman thing, because that's what I was supposed to be. And I fell into these other things. And then kind of getting out of that was when I started working out and stuff. And then as I started getting away from those people, moving towards the gym and then going to school here and there, the people that just started being around me more shifted over time. It just changed, especially when I got into crunch. Like, those people just kind of fell away because I would no longer had time to do those things. I filled up my time with so many productive things, with the gym, with my nutrition, with my clients, and then school, and then just kind of focusing on myself, that all the negative things that I was doing just they kind of fell away. And I no longer wanted to do them again because I knew how destructive they were, and that I was going to become a person that I was never meant to be. And yeah, it was a interesting period for sure.
You told me that your dad said you can tell a lot about someone by who they spend the most time with.
Yeah.
Was that something that he said to you before or after this phase that you had in your life?
He told me that, well, both, I'd say. Like, he told me that before, because he, like, my parents saw the person I was turning into. They saw the people I would bring over to the house, and my dad would mention that to me, and I was just kind of like, whatever. Like, these are my friends, they're cool, like, I'm having fun, like, whatever, YOLO, I'm young. That I don't even have that many friends, but the people I do have around me are either on a similar level than me or they're much higher than me. And like, I surround myself with people who now elevate me. And the people that I fell into with those groups, at first, they weren't reflections of myself. But very quickly, they became reflections of myself. So I think it's so, so important that if you're in these groups and you think you're the odd one out and somehow you just sometimes hang out with these people, no, you're not. You won't be. Very quickly, you're not the odd one out.
For sure. And I think it's funny that you said, I'm young, YOLO, because like a lot of people are like, yeah, YOLO, let's do it. But I mean, I've been blessed enough to hear a few people say, yeah, YOLO, so don't mess it up. Like it's not YOLO so I can mess it up. It's no, you only get one, so don't mess it up. And you've really done a 180 going from all of that to now competing in wellness and figure. A lot of people just do one or the other. Why did you choose, I'm going to bodybuild and I'm going to go into both the wellness category and the figure category?
Well, it was less my, well, I wanted to do either. I was like, I'm going to do one or the other. My coach was like, you can do both, you're good enough. But they focus on different things. So with figure, I mean, you never know who's going to be there, but I want to say I'm going to definitely place. I won't say I'll definitely win, but I'm definitely placing. Wellness, that's a little bit more, but I was like, okay, I'm going to definitely win this one. Let's just throw another win in there and see how I do with that. But with bodybuilding, it's just been something that it's always, I think it's a blessing when you find something that you just for some reason excel at. I think it's always a blessing when you have those natural things that you're just good at. And like bodybuilding and building my physique has just been one of them. It can be scary at times how big my back is, but because of that, like, I'm hoping like this first show really like turns it into bodybuilding itself into a passion for me and something I can continue on with. And I'm going to do both and I'm going to win overall and it's going to be great.
I mean, I think that even though you had mentioned that you're blessed with a car, you're blessed, you live in the suburbs, you have a great family. I think now this is my own opinion. I think one of the best blessings that you do have is that something that you truly enjoy and your passion in life also crosses with something that you are naturally and genetically gifted with.
Yeah. That's kind of,
Yeah. Because not only is your body like, oh, okay, we're lifting, let's get huge, but it's also like you're like smiling while you're doing like 35-pound lateral dumbbell raises. Most people wouldn't even attempt something like that.
Yeah.
And I mean, maybe not 30. I don't know. Do you do 35s? I
I
have
can
no
do
idea.
50s.
Okay. All
I
right.
can
Well,
do them. I don't do them.
yeah.
If we're
Well,
talking about it.
maybe if we're talking about it. If you want me to flex real quick, I'll flex. That's awesome.
But yeah, no, I think it's been like a blessing, like with fitness, because I have clients all the time who they just cannot get into it. They try and they just, for some reason, they just can't get into it. And it's been having something that gives me some purpose, even besides just the personal training and helping people, feeling like something that's driving me and something productive that's driving me that focuses my whole life, especially like with my nutrition. That helps me with my health. And then just like my whole day is productive because of my gym schedule. And it just has changed everything. I used to sleep all day. Like I need to get my steps in now. So I need to be up. Like it's been such a blessing and it makes me I'm so happy that I was able to like find fitness and for it to become such a big part of my life. And then, like you said, for my body to enjoy it and like get jacked and huge. Like, I love that. Like, it's great because it might be a different story if I was doing all this and had no gains. It might be different.
Yeah. It keeps you going for sure. Because if not, that's when a lot of people give up too, is when they don't see the big, change in, their weight or their body fat percentage and they're doing all the right things and they're still not getting like that outcome.
Yeah.
But you said that like you have a lot of clients that just like can't get it or can't, break that barrier. What is your tactic? Like what's your tactic for getting through to people and to getting people to actually do what they need to do?
Right. Well, it really depends. Most of the time I find that at first, like, and this will be with anything, but I find at first when I get people and they sign up for training and everything, like they're so motivated and they're on time, they're following their plan. And then some people stay with that, and then some people they kind of start wavering. And then we do their check-ins and stuff, and things aren't changing. And then we tend to just like remind them of why they started. What is your why? Now, if it changes, because it does change, like it can change over time, but just making sure people are remembering their why when they do not want to come in the gym anymore. Or they aren't seeing the results they want. They can be doing everything right. Sometimes things just take more time, but reminding people of why they started it. And if that why has changed, that's fine, but you need a why. And you need something that's going to motivate you because paying money is not going to motivate you. People think it will. It does not. And the superficial things on the outside, they'll start motivating you, but in 6 months when you don't look like a supermodel, that might start wavering. So you need a really deep why, and reminding people of that typically tends to kick things into gear when they do start slowing down or they start wanting to go the opposite direction or try Pilates or something.
Yeah. And I think too, a lot of people want to do it, but they don't know that they want to do it or they don't know why they want to do it. Like they'll do like those initial sessions with us or used to with me. They will with you now. But there's a reason that you said yes to giving me $10 to take you through a workout to see what was wrong with your form and also how I can help you lose body fat and build muscle and become stronger and more effective and more efficient. Because if you didn't at least go, yeah, here's $10. Like $10 doesn't sound like a lot, but like you're interested at least to hear what I have to say about what's going on with you. And like, you really have to like make sure that they know their why before they start. Because if not, then they're not going to be a successful client with you.
Yeah.
Like, I remember one time we had sat down. Well, you were with a lady and you like kind of told me her story. You're like, can you come talk to her real quick? Like, she's kind of on the fence about like if she wants to do training or not.
I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. And I went over and I sat down with her and I was like, you have a niece, right? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, how is your niece? She's like, well, she's like not really into fitness. And I'm like, but like, do you want to be the example for your niece? Like, do you want to be the example of like what can get done and like what you can do if you really invest your time and energy in yourself? And I think she signed up with you. Like,
yeah, she did.
I don't know. Yeah. Okay. Is she still your client?
No. She actually, like, she went out of town and then I never saw her again. She never came back up.
Scratch what I just said then.
I do think she wanted to do it, but I do think the gym really intimidated her. So, like, I think, because I have had people like that, where the gym is just such a scary place for people. I've sat down with people and they just have immediately started crying as soon as they started talking. So, I do really think she wanted to, but I do think the gym was just very scary for her.
What do you think is a good way to like break through that fear for people that aren't used to the gym or think it's scary, or some people that, you know, they don't want to go over to dumbbell land? Like, I've had people like tell me, they're like, that's the scary part of the gym. Yeah. And like, to me, it's like, scary part of the gym.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard it called like, man's area.
Yeah, strong man's land. I'm like, you can go over there. It's fine. Yeah. Like, so what do you think, or what have you used to kind of help people break away from that fear?
Well, like, it takes time, because no matter what I say, like, it's gonna take time. I was that way too. When I was at Planet Fitness, I would not go touch them free weights. I stayed in the little functional circuit machine room. Like, I stayed in there. I stayed on the abductors.
The 30-minute workout area.
I stayed in there. I would not go anywhere else.
I only go there when all the other possibilities are worn. And even then, I may just start doing push-ups on the ground.
No, I put myself in there. Like, that was my area. That was my workout, because I would not go to anywhere else. But over time, I've realized that everyone, for the most part, is concerned about themselves and how they look in the gym. They could care less about you. Even me now, I know what I'm doing. I'm more concerned about how I look and my form and everything else than I will looking at anyone. I'm never going to sit there and look at someone. I know what good form is. I'm not going to sit there and look at someone who might be doing bad form and be like, oh, their form's bad. No, that's not going to happen. And then just starting to put yourself in those areas in the gym. If you stay in the cardio area looking at the dumbbells and you never go over there, yeah, it's going to be scary. You never went over there. Go over there, do something. No one's watching you. And then over time, it takes time. But just starting to put yourself in those uncomfortable spaces is fine. Just be okay with being uncomfortable and know that everyone is just thinking about themselves. They are not thinking about you. Everyone's thinking about themselves, thinking about other people. That's it. Everyone's thinking the same exact things. No matter where you're starting, if you're fully into it, doesn't matter.
Especially the more jacked they are. Like, the more jacked they are, the more intimidated you probably are, the more they probably don't care. Like, the more they're probably, like, checking out their tricep in the mirror more than they're looking at what you're doing.
Trying to figure out if it's a good time to take the pump cover off or not. Like, that's what we're thinking about. Like, no one's thinking about other people in the gym. It's a place where people come to work on themselves. But I do understand how it can be intimidating. But just starting to put yourself in those spaces is how you're going to be comfortable with it.
Yeah, like that little bit of exposure time over time is definitely important. Yeah. And typically, like, if someone asks me a question about like lifting or asks me for something at the gym, there's like a 95% chance I respond with like, oh yeah, no, absolutely. Like, here, let me help you. But during the workout, I'm like, just like straight face as can be. And I should probably work on that for sure.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Yeah, just a little bit. But are you taking any clients right now?
Yeah, right now I am mainly online though, because I'm starting to kind of exit Crunch. I've done everything I want to do there. I love all my clients and stuff, but I've been starting to go online and kind of have my own stuff going on with my personal clients, just so I can focus on other things and focus on my bodybuilding and focus really dial in with people who are committed and less of a commercial gym environment.
Is that something that they know, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, because I sent them Hayden, Hayden's gonna go work there.
Yeah.
I had Hayden interview with Tony. That's our new manager. There's been about 6 of them. I sent them Hayden and he did good, so I'm gonna give him everyone I have there now.
I remember that first day. Has he done his clinical yet?
No.
They call it a clinical. It's really to see if you'll actually go and talk to people.
Yeah, I think it's a humiliation ritual.
Probably. They said, "Hey, come in a black t-shirt and black pants," and I showed up. They said, "Here's a clipboard. Go get names. We'll see you in 4 hours."
Literally, it's a humiliation ritual.
Yeah, I remember. Jake from the gym.
Yeah,
I was lifted there one time when I worked there, and as I was lifted, he comes up to me. He's like, "Hey, bro, it looks like you know what you're doing, but I need to get a few names down. Do you mind just writing your name and phone number down?" And I'm like, "What's this for?" I start grilling him, and then I'm like, "Dude, I work here. Go ask anyone up at the counter."
Bird did the same thing to me. It's honestly, Crunch is a cult. Yeah, but he hasn't done it yet. He will do it. I'm just he wants to be a trainer. I think Crunch is gonna be a good place to start for him, so he can he can take my torch because I'm over it.
Yeah, they do teach a lot about sales, and it's a great experience if that is the route that you want to go for sure. Yeah, and I personally had different aspirations than what they could offer me, so it just wasn't a fit personally. But with that being said, I do wish you the best of luck on your wellness and figure competition, and I know you're gonna do great. You grind a lot. Do you want to let people know your Instagram and your email if they want to be coached by Madison Stallworth?
Of course, my Instagram is Muscle by Madison, and my email is musclebymadison@gmail.com. Any inquiries, you just text me or email me your name, your goal, a little bit about you, and then I'll call you and we'll figure something out.
Awesome. If you had spotlight time, you have one thing to say to the audience, one piece of information to leave them with to better themselves and better their lives, what would it be? Not
let anything anyone says or does define you or change your perspective on yourself.
Okay. Awesome. It's definitely important to stay true to you and just stay true to who you are. And you've done a great job doing that. Super proud of everything you've been able to accomplish so far. Thank you for coming on the podcast. I really enjoyed our conversation. I really appreciate you taking the time to do this.
Me too. It's so fun.
All right. So for everyone listening out there, follow us on Instagram. We're on Spotify. We're on YouTube. And we're now on Apple Podcasts. Just got Apple Podcasts on Riverside. Riverside's an amazing site if you do want to start a podcast. That was not a paid advertisement. And thank you for listening. Coming out with new episodes every week. And as always, stay blessed.